Hello?
No.
Hi, what were you thinking?
Fantastic. What were you thinking, Dr. Ben Lerner?
I'm here. Dr. Ben is here.
Dr. Ben is in the house. Now, Dr. Ben, you are one of the most positive people that I've ever met. You never deal with negative chatter in your mind. Is that correct?
Yeah, when you've arrived like I have, it's just all angels speaking all the time.
All angels, all the time,
yeah.
Dr. Ben.
Yeah.
That's your new book, All Angels, All the Time.
They're just singing and stuff in my head. That's all I hear.
Joyful singing, harp music, joy bells, that kind of thing. No, I'm really honored to have you on the line. You know, you are not only very successful, but you're successful in helping people. Dr. Ben, I would say that you are the leader of a global initiative, Maximized Living. You guys are helping people all over the world. You're one of the founders, and you spend your whole life helping people get healthy, and you've had great success in that. You believe in that. I believe that one of the things you're known for is helping people confront their bad beliefs. So when you heard about Crash the Chatterbox and this topic we were taking on, what did you think about that? How did it register for you?
One, it is an awesome book. Normally with a nonfiction, it's not a page turner, but I actually knocked it out in about 36 hours. It was amazing. And this really is, from a health perspective, when we talk about our first essential, something we call maximize mind for just wellness. This is literally like healthcare in a book here.
That's good to hear, because I didn't just want to write the book like spiritual sugar sticks that help people feel better. Okay, trust God instead of worrying. And I was honestly so sick of those books, Dr. Ben, where there's a sense in which the author is over-spiritualizing everything. Oh, it's just the devil. Oh, if you have fear, you just need a deeper faith. Oh, well, if you're dealing with discouragement, just pick yourself up. Jesus died on the cross. You can suffer too. And I was so sick of that. I wanted to write a book that took seriously, like, stuff goes on in our minds. It's not just pie in the sky, and if you trust Jesus and pray to him, he'll take all the thoughts away. And that's where you have such a unique perspective to connect the spiritual of what's happening when trust God. You're a committed Christian. You love the Lord. But at the same time, you deal with those underlying factors. So talk about how you see the chatter, how you deal with it day to day, that might be a little different from the standpoint I'm coming from, or might be similar as a spiritual leader.
Well, for patients, so we have hundreds of thousands of patients, and one thing science has shown is that stress is dangerous. In fact, it doesn't matter how painful the stress is. The reality is that stress can be either really good for you and actually create vitality and longevity, or it can be really harmful. And what the studies show, that it's not the stress, it's whether or not you feel powerless against it that's the problem. So if you have some of the tools you've provided for us, like my joy is not determined by what happens to me, but what Christ is doing in me and through me, like that, like a healthcare tool to avoid stress being damaging stress, and actually possibly even convert it to being empowering and healthy stress.
Okay, so you say that the issue isn't what we're thinking, feeling, hearing. It's whether we feel we have the power to do anything about those thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, if you feel hopeless or powerless against it, that's when it actually can cause damage.
So how would you correlate what I'm saying in the book, where I'm basically saying we need to make these confessions to agree with God, we need to align our lives with these truths rather than the lies? How would you relate that strategy to the practical strategies that you help people with? Were you reading the book going, yeah, but it's a little bit more practical than that? Or were you reading it going, hey, that's right on, that's what I teach, because you specialize in helping people not only with what they feed their souls through their thoughts, but what they feed their bodies, a holistic approach. How did the approach of Crash the Chatterbox strike you?
What was great is, again, all angels singing and harps playing aside, that all have not only that chatter, but it's consistent. For myself, the bigger things get and the more successful, quote-unquote, things get, actually the more chatter and the more discouragement I can actually face, and I find that other people can face. So by recognizing this is a consistent thing, and you do need really to have tools to deal with it, things that you can go to in your mind. So, for example, personally, because we have haters, when somebody leaves me, which that happens on some consistent basis throughout the year, I can become anything from upset to despondent to discouraged for weeks at a time. But I can go back to the things that you've taught me both in this book and over the years. So really looking at, okay, what is God doing in me right now? Since I know He loves me, to go back and be able to say that I know God can do all things through Christ in me. That to have things I can go back to, it allows me to keep moving forward and allows my patients to so that they can not get sick in the process.
I absolutely love what you just said. And specifically, I related to the part where you said, the more growth you experience, the louder the chatter becomes. I don't know if you said it exactly like that, but that's one of the things that I address later on in the book, is that you think that if I listen to God and love God and walk with God and study the scriptures and practice combating negative thoughts long enough, eventually I'll come to the point where they won't be that much of an issue. And you find out that when you get to the next level in your life, as a parent, as a student, as a preacher, as a business owner, as a doctor, whatever it is that you're climbing, you find that the higher the altitude, the louder the chatter. And it surprises you. It catches you off guard. And you can't really make sense of it, because you go, wait a minute, I thought that once I got past this level, I would know I wasn't a loser. Yet I've never felt more like a loser, more ill-equipped to do what I'm doing, and I'm having to fight through more stuff. And now, not only do I have the pressure of trying to rise up, I have the pressure of trying to stay on top of these issues, on top of these things. And I want people to hear what Dr. Ben is saying, because, if you listen to this and you go, oh, well, the reason I feel insecure is because I don't have enough accomplishments, you've missed the message. It's actually in a lot of cases, more difficult to hold to what God says. As you rise up, as you go higher, there will be more resistance. Why is that? I believe, in many cases, it's because we have a spiritual enemy who opposes anything we're doing for God. I also believe that, the chatter really doesn't have to do anything to stop you if you're not moving, if you're not going anywhere, if you're not accomplishing anything. So, don't be surprised. This is one of the biggest things I want you to get from this message. Don't be surprised if, when you commit yourself more to the purposes of God, when you commit yourself to growing closer to God, if the chatter gets louder, you might think that's a sign that you're not growing. I would actually point out that that's a sign that you are.
I totally agree with you. Hi, Dr. Ben. This is Lisa Turkhurst on with Pastor Steven as well. And I think for me, the more successful I am, I always thought the more successful that I am, the more I'm accomplishing what I set out to do, the less insecure I'll be. But what I actually found is the more successful I am, the more it highlights my insecurities. And that's been hard for me, because then you have people that are watching, and it becomes like this highlighted thing on your insecurities that more and more and more people can see. Yes. And it comes out a lot of times in how I react to things that I feel like somebody's tapping in or hinting at the fact that I have shortcomings. And then my reaction is often where I can tell, oh, my insecurities are getting highlighted right here. And that's really tough. But yeah, that's been hard.
What's the biggest one for you, Dr. Ben, either that you deal with or that the people that you help deal with? If we're breaking this down into 4, of course, they all affect one another. But insecurity, fear, condemnation or shame, and discouragement, where do you feel most frequently attacked?
Definitely discouragement. I know that we are trying to save the world and we're doing great things, but then on a day-to-day basis, sometimes you don't see it. And so it's easy for that chatter to start and to say, you're not doing it. I tend to be somebody who can wait for the other foot to drop, or other shoe to drop, and just feel like here it comes. There it is. It's all over.
Right.
All this great stuff is gone. And it's really helped me, the line that you've taught us, you're doing better than you think you are.
Yes.
It's also easy for me to get entitled, to think, hey, God, you're going to just keep piling on and that somehow I deserve that. We got to a point where we had grown 500% over a course of about 5 years. And then the last 18 months, we only grew about 20 to 25%. And to me, that was like utter failure. And the Chatterbox was saying, you're losing it. You guys nobody wants you as much. And I'm saying, hey, God, where's the exponential growth that you promised me? And this is really where, you said we can get rid of entitlement through gratitude, and just being thankful to God and grateful for all that he has given me has really helped to quiet down that noise.